Network Today, where we take you from meeting people to
making money
faster. Triage. It's a big word. We're going to talk about networking triage.
I had to look it up in the dictionary.
What did the dictionary say, Rob?
It's kind of cool. Well, there's kind of a couple of different meanings, but one I liked was more related to business networking. It's a process of management of, solving issues, solving problems with the highest priority.
Priority. That's right. Because when we were talking about this, and this is really important, so I want you to stay. I know this isn't going to sound like, what? Networking triage. We really felt strongly that this is about keeping you healthy in a healthy networking environment and keeping you from, having the paddles on your chest in the ER, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We want to get you to the point where you don't have to go to the ER.
That's right. So I think you're going to leave this 15 minutes, that's what we're on task for, with a couple of great triage nuggets. So when we were talking about this, Rob, what was the first thought in your mind on this subject and how it relates to networking?
Well, you know what? The first thing that came into my mind was how so many people talk about not getting results from their networking. And as soon as I looked up and what the triage meant, I said, oh my God, this is a solution to help those people, because again, I think they're giving up too soon. Yeah. They're not studying, they're not making a priority. So that was the first thing, is I want to use this information to help those people that are struggling in their networking.
Okay, I think that's really valid, because there are a lot of people. One of the reasons I wanted to is because I've got a girl who's in the networking ER. It's a friend of mine, and watching this whole thing play out it's kind of dumbfounding to me that it got to this point, but frightening that people allow themselves to be near death. Mm-hmm. I figuratively speaking.
Right.
And then went networking to save their life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think this will be a fascinating discussion, and let's take you through this. So how is networking like keeping us healthy, right? That preemptive priority to keep us out of the networking ER. What are some of your thoughts? What are some of the things we do to stay networking healthy to avoid the triage?
Well, I think for me, when I'm in the zone for that, and again, we all have those ups and downs, the peaks and the valleys, but when I'm in the zone is I am going to my networking meetings, I'm scheduling my one-on-ones, I'm doing my follow-up, I'm sending my thank you cards. So I feel like I'm in the zone. But boom, when I go back down to the valley where I need to go to the ER, I mean, that's where I got to, learn more effectively what this triage is all about.
Yes. So the triage being the priority, and the priority here being health, because we want to keep you out of the ER if at all possible. And if we do get to the ER, let's talk about those priorities that need to happen too. But here's what we do to be healthy. Let's start there.
Okay.
Right? So here's some things to be healthy. We all know this. We exercise regularly.
Yes.
Right? Sleep. Is that part of health?
Sleep.
Absolutely. Eating right keeps us resilient.
Good nutrition.
How does that apply to networking?
Well, I think there's the priorities in networking is, like meeting the right people, having good one-to-ones, doing your follow-up, putting them into your CRM.
Right.
Building the relationship. So it's just not a one-touch.
Right. Here's some things on the list we'll talk about the health first, and then on the other side of this, the networking. Regular check-ins will keep you healthy. What's a regular check-in for you?
Go to the doctor, like for your annual checkup.
Right. So on the networking side, what's a regular check-in for networking? You're actually really pretty good at this. I know it's not coming to you right now, but regular check-ins are just calling people saying, hey, how are you doing?
Right.
Right? I know it's been, we haven't had a one-to-one for a couple of years, and that was mine today. I had one of those.
Okay.
It's been a couple of years. It's a regular check-in.
Regular
right?
check-in.
And then every couple of months, you check back in with those people or that person. Coffee chats, just scheduling chat time, just being intentional. Another health benefit, a healthy way to network to keep us out of the ER is to keep the network strong by doing these things. Okay, so let's go back to the health side.
Okay.
The next on the list is prevent major health issues from developing. What would be a major health issue that could develop if you're not paying attention to your health?
High cholesterol.
High cholesterol. There's a good one. So we want to prevent high cholesterol by doing what?
Eating the right foods, proper exercise.
Right. So preemptively knowing that if you don't do these things, then this could
Right.
happen, especially if you're predisposed to it.
Right.
So under the networking side, prevent isolation by networking.
Okay.
That's a way to get ahead of that. Because I'll tell you, the people that I'm talking to that are really struggling just with themselves personally, with a new business launch. Some people have, a couple of people had ideas that they wanted to launch, but they got themselves into this isolation. And networking keeps you in community. So iron sharpens iron, right?
Yeah.
And that's what networking does. It allows you to now a group to get help from before it becomes an ER and the paddles are on your chest.
Right.
So, all right. So back to the health side. Easier to catch small issues early when you're being healthy. So how do you catch small issues early?
Well, from a health point of view, I think that's when you're taking your vitamins. You know, again, going back to sleeping correctly, proper nutrition, exercising. I really think good health is really just kind of those three areas.
But now catching the small issues early, I would think would come from a checkup.
Okay.
Right. So
okay.
you're gonna go get your wellness check. You may have to get on the treadmill. They're gonna check your blood pressure. All of that. So on the networking side, how you catch those small issues early, you identify opportunities and navigate risks through early conversations. So talking to people. So again, back to the line before this was keeping yourself out of isolation by keeping yourself in community.
Yeah.
Then you're going to move into having conversations and have honest conversations, right? Don't just say, "Oh, all is good.
Right,
I
right.
love life." Yes, I mean, be honest. Now, don't be
Right.
Debbie Downer. Like, don't
Right.
take us down into the deep dark hole
Right.
in the middle of a networking event. But kind of be honest, or pull somebody aside and say, "Hey, can we? You know, I have an area that I'm struggling in. Can we have a chat?" Because if you can get that out faster and be around those other people who can speak, just a new perspective
Yeah.
can mean all the world of difference.
Oh, I totally agree with you. And I think, again, that what I'm thinking right now, what I'm taking away right now really is, when you've got your top 5, 10 people that you're very close to, like your A team, that you can count on them, that when you are in the valley
Yeah.
and you have those real
Yeah.
talks and be open about it. I think it goes back to, and I need to make a note too of, again, getting closer to it with your top 5.
Yeah. Keeping them in the loop when you're just really maybe you're just down. Maybe the weather affects you and you need to get things rocking and rolling in
Right.
February and you just can't seem to do it because you're affected by the cold or gloomy
Right.
weather. All right. So back to the health side. In an emergency, doctors already have your history. So if you're working in advance, now they're seeing the progress, right? Or they're seeing the markers.
Right.
So on the networking side, in a crunch, your contacts already know you. So you can say, "Hey, remember a couple of months ago, we talked about this. Are these the things you've been doing along the way?" Now there's a trust that's being built.
Right.
That's healthy. That's healthy networking. And now you're more likely to get help faster than if the opposite would occur, right?
Right.
You're
Yeah,
isolated.
absolutely. And then again, my takeaway from that is, again, going back to getting an accountability partner or accountability /mentor/friend partner that is there, got your back and is there for you.
Yes. So I'm actually working with another person, and we're scheduling every 2 weeks, just catch-up call.
Yeah.
Right. Just to help get them back on track. Something devastating happened, and they've after, what they felt was going to be a hugely successful launch, it wasn't so successful. And then things went downhill really fast. And isolation, again, I'm going to go back to what it was at 3 points earlier. Isolation's a huge problem because it will keep you from having those people speak life into you. So this is the last point under the health side. Building health takes consistency. It's not a quick fix.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, if I have to see one more ad online that says, take this pill and overnight, you'll lose 32 pounds this week. I'm like, really?
I wish those could be banned.
I know. But truly, that same rule applies to networking for some people, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, networking, and you referred this a lot of times, is you got to be in it for the long game.
Yeah.
It's not you're not going to be an overnight success. You're not going to be a rock star overnight. It's the long term, and you got to be on that journey.
Yeah.
And it starts now.
Yeah, it absolutely does. So on the networking side, the consistency also happens with relationships. When people plug in and then they unplug and you don't see them for a while and then they try to plug back in, it's not the same.
Yeah.
Right? You left the class, people. Like you're not there anymore. And so therefore now I'm hanging with some other people. They're getting my attention and albeit love you, mean it, but I had to go with the people who are consistent.
Yeah.
That's just me. So authenticity and consistency matter more than last minute asks.
Yeah.
How do you feel when somebody comes to you and they're like, oh my gosh, Rob, my business is about to go down. Can you help me, find somebody who's going to buy what I'm selling?
Right.
Or, can you rescue me? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's an uncomfortable position, because again, empathy-wise, you feel sorry for them. But again, it goes back to what you're saying is that, these people, they weren't there. They didn't do the right things, and you've got to put your loyalty and trust in the people that you see more one-on-one, that are consistent, and that person, it's just it's kind of a last-minute thing.
Yeah.
And how do you know he's going to serve your client properly?
Yeah.
If you've got a good lead for it, maybe you should give it to somebody else on your team. So I feel sorry for those people, but they've got to work or get on the journey of being a true networker.
Yeah, they do. And to your point, I've lost trust in them to do what they say they're going to do or to be consistent with the client. So I can do is steer them to the podcast and say, hey, find an episode that might help you because you've allowed yourself to get too far down. And it's tragic. So I've got this other person that I'm trying to help. And when you get yourself into such an unhealthy environment and you're racing to the ER, are you more or less inclined to make better decisions?
Yeah, less.
For sure. You're in a frenetic state.
Yeah.
And so therefore, more bad decisions are likely to come. Your cortisol's all like pumping through you and you're making, you're eating a candy bar.
Yeah, Cheryl, it just boils down to people don't take their networking serious.
Yeah.
They're not consistent. They're not doing it day by day. They're not learning. It's the long game here, and they've got to start from day one and be consistent on it.
Yeah. So I had this person that I keep referring to. There are two people that in this episode I'm referring to, but this person that's like in that frenetic state of, oh my gosh. The last text I got was, I'm just going to cancel. I'm just going to get off LinkedIn. I'll do a company page, but I'm going to get off I'm like, it's free. and if you're worried about employment and paying bills, why in the world would you make another bad mistake? It's where people go to check you out to see if you're real.
Yeah.
They're not just going to buy you because you think you have a great product, and they're not going to find you. They want you as a human being. And that's what they want to see. But again, I don't think it's a normal response. I think this person's in such a terrible state.
They're just not thinking right.
That's right.
Well, you can tell your friend that we'd be happy to help them with a new headshot and a new banner, a new guide for them to help them get back into the scene on LinkedIn and be more positive. So
Yes, yes. So just to wrap this up, and I know it might have felt strange, but I'm like, it goes hand in hand, right? They're healthy body things that we can do to be in better shape, to help us live longer and be better for our family. And the same applies to networking.
yeah, absolutely.
So don't wait until you're critically ill, when the paddles are coming at you, to start saying, "Oh my gosh, I need to have a spinach salad." I'm sorry. I mean, that's just not the time. The time was years ago. But you can't fix the past, so we can only affect the future.
Yeah.
And when do you start that?
Now.
That's right, today.
Today, right now, and you know, okay, and what I would say too, Cheryl, is make this a priority. Make networking a priority. You know, before you have to go to the ER. You know, go back to find an accountability partner, find a trusted mentor. Yeah. You know, be around positive people. Work on it.
That's right. And so I want to leave with this as we wrap this up. People who are probably watching this are those who are inclined to want to learn in advance, right? Yeah. They want to know. So they're probably inclined to be healthier networkers. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I was thinking about this as healthy networkers. I feel like I'm a healthy networker. Mm-hmm. When I see people who have a symptom of being an unhealthy networker, do I owe them a discussion? What do you think?
Yes. Yes.
And how would you frame that discussion? If I'm looking at them and I'm like, hey, person, I think you got this terrible rash. This thing is not looking good. And other people don't want to be around you because they're afraid it's contagious. So how would you lead into that conversation?
Ooh, good question. Again, I think it's just building a trusted relationship there, letting that other person know you care.
But they might not be trusted because now it's the ER, right? The paddles are coming out and you haven't seen them for a bit, and now you're trying to say, hey, you know, I think I see what might be a problem.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I was I was going back to the person that was looking at Network Today and seeking out help.
Yeah, no, you're the Network Today watcher, so you're the healthy one.
You're right. Okay,
right now you're at an event, or you see somebody who's not doing the healthy things in advance, and they've got the the rash. They're covered in the scaly stuff.
I mean, that's a tough question again, because you know you've only got so much time, right? And you want to have that time spent on the people that you know that really do want to, get help, and they're going to do the things and so on. And someone, and I've got a couple of friends myself that it's over and over again. They kind of get high and then they get way down low again, and they disappear. So I don't know. That's a tough question. I want to hear your answer.
My answer might not be the right answer. It might not be the best answer, but it would be my answer. It's like, hey, friend, if you had spinach in your teeth, would you want me to tell you? Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna tell you. I'm just gonna lay it out. Especially if you're here and you're looking for help, I'll give it to you. You might not like it. It might be a bitter pill to swallow, but by golly, you're gonna hear it. So, and they can take it for what it is. They can.
Well, I think an idea that came to my mind, I think I might go to Rob's library, pick out the Go Giver and say, read this book, and if it means something to you, come back and talk to me about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's right. So, all right, let's land the plane.
Okay, let's do it.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Network Today, where we take you from meeting people to
making money
faster. And we will see you again soon.